Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on a lovely little island of Fawnhollow today, in the midst of, well, maybe not in the midst of anymore, a sort of thunderstorm going on over my local area. The weather had been a little bit fickle, where about half an hour or so ago it was completely fine, and then like 20 minutes ago it started raining extraordinarily heavily, and then lightning, thunder, or, well, not lightning, maybe just thunder rumbles in the distance. Maybe there's lightning, I don't know, I didn't really pay much attention. And now it's kind of sunny again. It's still a bit overcast, and you know I can sometimes hear thunder rumbling in the background. But oh well, we'll see how that goes. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 3:11 p.m. on Monday, May 17th, 2021. Nothing to really speak of today, but we'll go about our usual business again. You know, we're a bit of a lull, Animal Crossing wise, as we haven't had an update for a while. I mean, we had a Mayday update, but that was like nothing. So when was the last major update? Festival probably. What was that, March? So it's been a little bit of time, but still. Sharing is caring, dear. I was doing a little recreational organising last weekend and came across this light. It's just gathering dust here, but I thought it might brighten up your place. I hope you like it. If not, well, sorry. Always hopeful, Lily. I think we got that letter before, but again, I still haven't bothered to clear out our, not envelope, our mailbox. Who's up? Is it red? It's not red for today. I'm going to wander down here and see who it could be. Is it someone on the centre? It's not. We got a wandering visitor. Oh, hello, Rowan. Can't find a yellow butterfly anywhere. Sure. Based. When did I give you the nickname Based? Sorry, the catchphrase Based. That's so good. Pretty based on me. Sorry, yeah. What have I been going on about today? What have I been doing today? Been honestly just programming. I played a little bit of games, of course. I did my dailies, but that doesn't take all that long. It takes like, I don't know, up to 20 to 30 minutes maybe. I don't play all that many games. I don't even do dailies on them anymore. Like, let's think. I play Genshin. I play Shiny Colors. I play Starlight Stage, but I haven't even done my Starlight Stage daily, so it doesn't even matter because it doesn't matter. There's no event. Well, I mean, there's a event going on, but I've already done it, so there's no big deal. It's no big deal. We don't need to do Nook shopping anymore, I forgot, because we have all the KK Cider songs. Isn't that exciting? No, we'll go about our usual business of farming up Nook Mart tickets for the inevitable day that someone decides to move out who we're okay with moving out, and then, you know, that hasn't happened for a while, apparently. It hasn't happened for ages. Like, Flip moved in shortly before the second anniversary, so it's been about 2 months now of and no one moving out, because I'm pretty sure the only people who've asked to move out have been, like, Raymond and Amelia and Vivian, you know, who obviously I don't want them to leave because I like them a lot. But still, you know, I don't think I bears repeating that. At this point, why don't we just get straight onto the banter, that sort of thing, you know? Mad Bancio. Archbishop of Banterbury, Gavin. Have you seen those Tumblr posts? Sorry, that probably made no sense out of context. It's like, if you don't know, like, obviously English tend to have a lot of dialects and whatever, depending on where you live, but you know, it still always uses English as a base language. But this one's a bit of like a very popular thing to do on Tumblr is just like type a paragraph out and like either with a Scottish accent or with like using roadman speak or something. Is that what it's called? Is that the official term? I don't know what the official term is. Something about like yeah, no, I guess roadman slang is kind of the most appropriate thing for it. It's absolutely hilarious to read for me because, of course, I understand it. I don't speak that. Like, well, as you can tell, I speak of apparently an estuary accent, which is meant to be sort of like a halfway between a Cockney accent and a received pronunciation, because it's not quite received pronunciation. Although I'd say it probably leans closer to received pronunciation than estuary. Maybe it's like in between estuary and received pronunciation. I don't know. That's the sort of thing you need, like who's someone who studies accents? Accentologist. That's obviously not correct. Someone like that to do a study of, but you know, anyway, I guess it's because my accent's a bit of a mix. I go like bottle instead of bottle water. But anyway, I don't know, it kind of depends how I'm feeling. You know, sometimes I go bottle, sometimes I go bottle. But yeah, what? Anyway, it was Tumblr posts like have things like, oh, I can't even do it. Because I don't think of that way, so it's quite hard for me to like fabricate something like that upwards. But they basically just say an entire paragraph using a Scottish accent or using roadman talk. Roadman talk sounds wrong, but it doesn't sound like the correct phrasing. But I don't know what correct like terminology is. And then it's just hilarious reading all the very confused Americans being like, I don't even understand what this is trying to tell me. And then someone responds again in the same vein, and they're just going like, what are you trying to say? Like, obviously that would, you know, be the kind of thing you could do it like with any country, to be honest. I mean, it'd be significantly harder and lose a lot of effect if you did it in a country which didn't speak English. Well, at least it'd lose effect on English speakers, but I'm sure you could do your own localized versions, like you do like French Canadian and French versions or that, or some sort of thing like that. But still, just the fact that, you know, English is quite a, I don't know, saying it is a universal language is very like misleading, but it's a language which a lot of people know, and especially like the main demographics of Tumblr, I'm sure, like America. So it's not surprising that exposing them to English, or one of the many English dialects, it's rather confusing trying to decipher it, you know. Like, and the thing that's always most not exciting, but amusing to me in the things is like the slang names that people come up for someone who's like mad bants, you know, like Archbishop or Banterbury is always my favourite, but Bantosaurus Rex. They've always like, oh, we're going to hit up spoons. Something. I can't remember how it goes. But, I know, dialects and accents are a very interesting thing, you know. I suppose I have a rather narrow view of it, but it's going to sound stupid, but obviously there are accents in other languages. But it's not often something you think about all that time, especially from like a very English perspective, I suppose, is to be like, oh yeah, we have tons of different accents, and you know, England, you know, you go up north, you got like Scouse accents, and you got Geordie accents, and you go like people from Yorkshire, Liverpool. I'm not very good at accents, mind you, so let's not try our best to do impersonations of them. You can go down south, you go to London, you can get some received pronunciation, you get some Cockney rhyming slang, you get people yeah, and long story short, there's a lot of different accents, because I don't know, for some reason England has a very large variety of accents, and for such a small country, which is, I don't know, probably to do with the fact that English is some sort of weird mishmash of loads of other languages and the old historical influences, but I'm not a history major, so I can't really comment on that fact. But the thing you don't really think about is there's obviously accents in other countries and other languages as well, which you don't think about, because obviously if you don't speak that language, you don't really pick up on the nuances of it so much. Because like in French, you know, I'm sure people from Paris speak very differently from people down like south. Like someone from Nice or something probably sounds very different from someone from Paris. And as a native French speaker, you could probably absolutely tell. You'd be like, as soon as you hear them speaking, you'd be like, oh, you're not from Paris, are you? You know, and maybe even like if a Swiss French person comes. I don't know how different Swiss French is from regular French, but still. So I'm going along those lines. But I wonder basically, because as I understand it, English, I shouldn't say English, I say the UK in general, has a very surprisingly diverse accent range compared, especially for its size or whatever, where I don't know how diverse the accents are, I suppose, between regions in other countries. And that's, you know, something that's actually a curiosity, you know, to think about. Are there countries out there with, I mean, the answer is almost certainly yes, but with like less diverse accents or something, like people more or less speak the same throughout the entire country? I mean, obviously the answer could be like, yes, Vatican City, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, that's obviously not in the spirit of my question, but I respect your gumption for sticking to the technically accurate anyway. Yeah, like, where did all these flowers come from? Yeah, from different countries. The regional accent variety. Is it more? Is it less? How noticeable is it? That sort of thing. I suppose I can give my sort of views on it in a little bit, because obviously I know Chinese and about some of the regional dialects of Japan and that sort of thing. It's reasonably different because I'm Chinese. My parents broadly grew up in Beijing, so they speak the equivalent of the Queen's Chinese, but it's not called the Queen's Chinese, it's called like Putonghua or something, which is like received pronunciation but for Mandarin Chinese. And they're kind of close to it, but interestingly, my father has a bit of a Beijing accent, which you might be like, well, what? How do you ever receive pronunciation in the Beijing accent? Well, to put it in an English perspective, it's like having, I suppose, a reasonably close to an RP accent, but also, you know, you can have a bit of a London twang to where you speak, right? Somewhere along those lines, because apparently quite a common thing, which, because I obviously learned my Chinese majority the majority of it from them is like I'll give an example. In park in Chinese, like the standard way to say it would be 公园. Oh, I'm not sure if those accents are right. 公园, yeah. But like the Beijing way, they turn like these an sounds at the end of words into r. So like this is how I understand it. What I might be saying might be like completely factually inaccurate, but so take what I say with a grain of salt. But this is as I understand it, what it is. But the Beijing way would be 公园, which is like, you know, it's a reasonably big difference, I suppose, but it's something I didn't really think about because, you know, I went to a Chinese school obviously to learn the language as well. But like saying something is fun is you learn and write it as how wan, but then I never really thought about the fact that I say it as how war. It's weird, you know. So obviously there's regional dialects in Chinese as well. Like I've met Chinese friends at university and they're from different areas. Like some of them, like I have a friend from Shanghai, I have a friend from like down south, and their Chinese, like when I listen to it, I don't know how to put it except for it's not as easy to listen to. Not because like it's not like it's hurting my ears. It's more like I can't understand it as well because I'm not fluent in Chinese. So I suppose that'd be like them listening to English accents being like, I can understand your like received pronunciation, close to received pronunciation pretty well, but then if I listen to someone like with a Scouse accent, I find it hard to compute what they're saying sometimes. And you know, that's just how it is. That's just how accents work, isn't it, in the first place? And I don't know. You might say that's, you know, so what? And I think you have a point. It's not, in the end, it's not like a grand revelation or anything, but I think it's just, I can't believe we missed that Mantis. It's just kind of interesting to think about, like the different perceptions and perspectives from that sort of thing. And the understanding and the difficulty, I suppose, in translating accents and how they can evolve even through such a small area. But China's quite a big country, so yeah. I will say I can understand my Shanghai friend a lot better than my friend who's from more of the southern parts of China. But even then, like, I have grandparents in China. One of them's from Beijing and one of them's from Sichuan, and which is another province, more slightly to the west. Oh, common butterfly. Was it common or yellow butterfly that I went? I forgot. I think it was yellow. Let's go catch her. And I can understand them considerably worse than I can understand my grandparents who live in Beijing. It's just like, it's interesting, you know? Because obviously when you learn a foreign language, you don't learn the accent. You learn the standard, like, if someone's going to learn English, they're probably going to learn the standard received pronunciation way of doing it. Unless, of course, their teachers are like, I don't know, from Manchester or something. But instead of saying Tuesday, they'll say Tuesday. Tuesday. Thursday. Which I also picked up from. I think I talked about this from before my chemistry teacher. Said Tuesday and Thursday, because he was from Manchester, as far as I know. And I don't know, because I suppose he always sat at home on Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes I find myself going Tuesday and Thursday. So it'll be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is just a weird amalgamation of like 3 different accents for the 7 days a week, but still, which is an interesting to think about. But I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, China's a pretty big place. There are a lot of different accents. I don't know the accents nearly as well as I know the English accents, but and I don't even know the English accents very well, so I suppose that should sort of illustrate how little I know about this sort of topic. But I know in Japanese, of course, there's a lot of different accents as well. I think the most common one you'll probably know is, oh, look, a lost item, is if you watch animes, you'll probably know about the Kansai accent, which is like near Osaka, Kyoto sort of area. I don't really know what makes it that. I know instead of saying san, I can say han, I think. Is this Jakey's? Cartoon character means Jakey, right? I think so. Like, yeah, one of our honorifics they use is han instead of a san. Or chan, maybe? I don't know. And I think they can sometimes end sentences with tai, but it's just interesting to think about. Because especially if you watch something like in a foreign language, like e.g. anime, e.g. a foreign language film. Like, what's it called? I was going to make a reference, but I forgot what the movie was called. Like that movie, it's not called Up, it's called Balloon, I think, about people in East Germany trying to escape to West Germany. back in the Cold War sort of era. We don't need to shoot down Blinn, I don't think so. Where are you, Jicky? And Jicky. Oh. Where are you, Jicky? We haven't seen you. Oh, we should give a butterfly to Rowan before we forget. Oh, what's up, Vivian? You have a perfect gift? Thank you. What is it? An office desk. Excuse me, sorry. There's just I don't know, like weirdly hiccuping. But yeah, the thing is, you can sort of, I mean, I suppose there's stereotypes about certain accents, about sort of thing, but there's a lot of nuance within accents, which is obviously kind of lost if you're just reading like the subtitles translated to your native language. Because obviously, if someone's got an accent, which no other people have, or like main characters, or wait, sorry, if none of the other main characters have, or anyone of his own has, you might be like, oh, interesting, they're probably not from here. Adds a level of intrigue or mystery of that sort of thing. But that sort of thing is lost on you if you obviously don't understand the language, and then even that don't understand the accents in the first place. Like, maybe you can hear it. Although I'm going to tell you now, if I was like, I know, watching like a Croatian film or something, I have no idea what Croatian accents sound like. I don't even know what Croatian sounds like, so how am I going to be able to tell the difference between like received pronunciation of Croatian versus like, I don't know, the southeast coastal accent of Croatia, you know? I mean, it just gives different vibes off different people, which is no surprise. Different sounds give different impressions and that sort of thing, which, I don't know, good and bad, I suppose, in certain aspects. But yeah, that sort of nuance, I think it's a shame that it's lost. There's not really anything you can do about it. I mean, the thing you can do is you can give like relevant accents, I suppose, to the subtitles, because it's a common thing they do in anime, is they give the Kansai accent like a southern sort of twang in the subtitles, which I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, because, you know, there's different like implications between the two different accents, but I suppose it sort of gives a similar sort of vibe, which is really the best you can do. Oh, is it we haven't spoke for a while? Is that what you said? What you doing? A dark tulip brief. I already know how to make it, apparently. Oh, we didn't even help Gulliver. We need to get more computer parts, I forgot. Let's make sure we actually finish saving Gulliver before we carry on. How many we got? We got 4. We're missing 1. Okay. Yeah. Because there's another thing, I feel like I brought this up before in anime, especially, well, at least in Japanese, there's different, like, there's keigo, which is different levels of respect and formality, I suppose. You can speak with people, like with friends, you speak much more casually, which very obviously is in English, and probably in every language there's some levels of formality, but in Japanese it's something which is actually intrinsically built into the language itself, using the honorific systems. You like conjugate your verbs differently depending on... Oh? What's this? Discord message, ignore that. Hello, Lily. Oh no, you're ill. Let's go get you some medicine. Yeah, it's intrinsically built into the language, which I feel like if you're a native Japanese speaker or someone who's studied it particularly well, you'll like watch something in Japanese and you'll be like, oh, you can pick up in subtle nuances. Be like, oh, interesting. This character doesn't use the formal language to someone who's their superior, and then you can start building impressions about that sort of thing. Does this mean that these two, they know each other already? Is this person just being disrespectful? Do they just... or are they unaware, something like that? And you know, it's interesting. It has a lot of nuance to their character. Like I think I talked about them before. Yuta, Japanese man Yuta, he's got a YouTube channel, and he often breaks down like how different anime characters speak, because honestly, anime characters, they speak in a theatrical way, as they should probably do, because it's, you know, a work of fiction. But it's interesting. I can't remember which character it was. I think it was someone from Demon Slayer or something, which I've not seen, by the way, but it was an interesting nuance of this character basically speaks exclusively in like the formal... sorry, I need to think about what I'm saying. Like in a formal way of speaking the entire time. But there's this one point where they speak to another character, and it's the only time apparently they drop the formal, like, honorific system and speak using a much more casual... a casual level, which is normally used between like juniors or friends or that sort of thing. So it's just like, oh, you know, if you're not a native speaker, you wouldn't miss up on that like subtle hint towards a relationship or connection between them. Like, is that, oh, do they have some sort of familiarity with each other enough for her to drop her formal acting guard and that sort of thing? It's like, oh, interesting. And there's another thing like which you don't think about, because when I learned Japanese in university, of course I learned the formal Japanese because that makes sense. But you'd rather start formal than go downwards, and rather than start informal than go upwards, because if you start informal, you just go up to businessmen or like your seniors in Japan, be like, yo, 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 what's up? Which is, you know, not exactly how you want to greet yourself. You want to be respectful and polite, especially since that's a very important aspect in Japanese culture. Let's go try and find this other chip, then we'll give a thing to Lily, and then if we can find Jakey, we will hand over this little thing to him. So yeah, I forgot what my point was. I don't know if we already had a point. Oh no, yes, but because I learned about formal Japanese, an interesting part was some of the later more advanced Japanese lessons. Obviously, they're not necessarily learning more vocab, because that's kind of things you can do on your own, or conjugations. It was learning how to speak more casually. It was learning like how to speak conversationally rather than formal all the time, because, you know, if you want to use Japanese and you make like Japanese friends who are like your colleagues or classmates or that sort of things, you speaking really formally all the time gives off very stoic, like cold impersonation, because it's not even just like about respect necessarily, and a certain thing is, if you drop your formality levels down to lower levels, it's sort of like being like showing a sign of comfort, being like, oh, you're my friend, so I want to speak with you as a friend. But if you speak with them with like, you know, formal Japanese the entire time, it can feel a bit cold and a bit like unnerving, I suppose. Like you're not a very open person, which is like, oh, interesting little tidbits that you get from it. Anyway, that's not really to do with accents, I suppose, but my point being, there's a lot of nuance in accents, and a lot of it is lost if you don't know the language. So I remember when I was younger, I asked my father, I was like, are there, like, it sounds stupid at the time, but, you know, I was like 12 or something, and I was like, are there accents in Chinese? Because it's not something that's often brought up, but like, if you think about it a bit, it's like, oh yeah, obviously there should be. Like, why would English be the only language which could develop like different ways of speaking it, like like dialects or slang or that sort of thing? But you know, when I'm like 12, I'm like, I never really thought about this before. And he was obviously like, yeah, and he like did his impersonation of like I can't even remember what accent. I was like, I didn't understand what you just said. And I was like, oh, it's sort of like enlightening, you know, in a way. And I don't know why I talk about foreign languages so much. I'm always like talking about foreign languages, but despite it not being something I studied or really took too much further, but it's interesting, I suppose. I suppose it's, you know, the language of connecting people always makes it interesting. There you are, Jakey. I haven't talked to Sable for a while. Let's talk to you. You dropped this? It was literally right outside your house. I wonder if they're more likely to drop things right outside their house than not. It's not yours? Oh, it is Audie's. So that was my second guess. I would have thought it would be yours though. Cartoon characters doesn't seem like Audie sort of thing. I thought Audie likes dramas and that sort of thing. Actually no, that's kind of more of a snooty villager thing, isn't it? It's more like a reality TV thing as Audie sort of thing, right? I didn't know she watched cartoons. I feel like actually now I thought about it, I think I've got this exact dialogue option for like this bag before, and I also thought it was one of my lazy villagers and proceeded to give it to the wrong person. Anyway. Hello you two. Where's Audie? Was somewhere around here somewhere? We need to make sure to give medicine to Lily so she doesn't stay ill forever. It's a good thing she's self-isolating while being ill and all that. And no one is perfect. I can't believe you still got that as your greeting. That's some Seraphine's release. That was ages ago. What's my point? Yeah, I know accents. I remember there was like a video of like two French women doing like some short comedic video or whatever, and they were speaking French in it, and I was reading the comments, and it was like, oh, people are like, these two people are clearly speaking French, but I can't understand a word they're saying. And then there was a discussion. It's like, oh yeah, they probably have. It seems like they have like a really thick Southern French accent on, not on, but like that's just their accent, I suppose. I was like, oh, interesting. I don't know. I guess my point is, it's not something I think about all that often, but when you do, oh wait, hold a minute, we never put that other lamp down. We have a cherry blossom now. We're meant to customize it, and apparently we never have. Why don't we do that ever so swiftly? Here, it's medicine. Look how fine she looks right now. She was just faking it. I'm joking. I mean, I suppose that's why there's like linguists that they like study accents, that sort of thing. Like if you become like an actor or something, you gotta train with a linguist who's like an expert in the accent or whatever to break down the syllables or what comprises the accent in the first place. It's always intriguing, I suppose, to see an accent broken down. Like what parts of it make that accent that, you know? Because while I could sit here and do a horrible impersonation of whatever accents, there's always going to be a little bit missing. That's because, you know, I haven't studied the accent. I don't know what parts of it makes it that accent in the first place, you know? Is that the way they pronounce vowels? Perhaps like they speak more with the back of their throat rather than the front of their throat or something? They've got a little bit of a trill on their R's, something like that. Is it, you know, you don't pick these up? All these like rules or whatever which have evolved over time from, oh, there it is, whatever different people speaking the accent and eventually coming to the conclusion that this is how we will do it. Why don't we make fish bait? That's actually a good point. We'll customize this blossom viewing lantern to make sure we actually put it down. But yeah, I don't know. That'll be an interesting thing to have like in a lesson for like a foreign language classes. Okay, now you know how to speak it formally, you know how to speak it like conversationally or whatever. Why don't you learn how to speak it speak in different accents? Like obviously it's not really a priority, or like understand different accents in the first place. Obviously it's not a priority. You'd probably much rather learn about like more grammatical structures and vocabulary rather than accents, but it would be like a fun like one-off lesson in that language, I think. You know? I was thinking about this, went to a Japanese class today, and the Japanese teacher was like, alright, I'm going to tell you how people from Kansai speak or something. Or let's have a fun lesson understanding that accent expression. And it'd be like, oh, cool. Pog, as they say. I hate saying it, but like, it's also kind of funny. I feel like me saying pog at the same time is... Because one of my friends is pog all the time. All the time, you know. He's a bit of a memer. Actually, a lot of people go pog now I think about it. It just doesn't suit me, which is why I like doing it. I've got to be careful, otherwise it starts suiting me, you know, when I've lost my own identity and that sort of weird mess. We should also redeem these Nookmile points, apparently. Because we got a ticket. Again, no one has asked to leave. Fawnhollow, everyone loves it. It's perfect. Why would you leave? What Fawnhollow accent do you think we would have, you know? We're technically our own isolated civilization. This Animal Crossing island should develop its own accent. Probably just my accent. So I do the most talking on this island. Probably second to Audi. What are we doing? But interestingly, now I think about it, the Animal Crossing villages have different accents as well. Don't they? Because all the cranky villages have like a southern accent. Or maybe I just give them a southern accent, I don't know. And the peppy villages have some sort of like Valley Girl / California accent. Which I think are different things now I think about it. Or maybe they're similar, I don't know. I don't know American accents either, to be honest. I mean, America's got quite a lot of different accents as well, but America's like, you know, 50 times the size of England and UK. It's weird how condensed all the accents are. I want which country has the highest accent per land area, I suppose, and which has the lowest. Interesting thoughts. Stop saying Vatican City having the lowest. All right, you know, we get it. Vatican City is the smallest city in the world. Country in the world. I reckon this is at least right. Probably. I guess the question is more whether it's a country or not. I'm pretty sure it's a country. There we go. Got matching lanterns like that, as it always should have been. It almost looks a bit strange now with two of them there. This is still probably the best area of the island because it's the only area which it feels like fully decorated. I still need to decorate this area, but I never figured out what I was doing over here. Oh well, you know. I'll just wait for them to introduce more furniture sets and then I'll decorate it with that. I'm sure that Nintendo will do it at some point, she said, lying for her teeth. Please, Nintendo. Give Animal Crossing updates. There's only so many things I can talk about for half an hour each day. Actually, that's not true. I could probably do this for like 10 more years, but still. Should we round this episode off here? Oh, what do you think about Rowan? You're not allowed to leave, by the way. Bruh? You don't like bruh? Fine. How about this? How about... Sheesh. That's a new hottest meme. That's a no. Point to your arm, you go sheesh. SH. Sheesh. Let me see how this goes. Sheesh. How's that? I aced it, right? Perfect. And apparently, anytime you hear someone go sheesh, you're meant to go sheesh as well. So, sheesh. Okay, I'm gonna start now. If you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, all greatly appreciated. Links down below. I hope we can see each other again. Excuse me. I hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Sheesh. Sorry. Bye bye for now.